This project, using fiscal year 2019 H1B petition data as the data source, retrieved from the Office of Foreign Labor Certification, OFLC, is meant to help international students whose majors, bachelor's or master's or even PhD are in the marketing-related fields, just like mine. The reason for this decision is that students with this particular background are especially challenged by when it comes to career resources, such as the amount of alumni that are willing to help out, the amount of professionals who actually understand how hard it is for this group of people to even get an interview, and most importantly, the minimal amount of jobs that the employers express any willingness in sponsoring H1B visas for these candidates. Given the harsh situation that countless students are in where I used to deal with, I wanted to share this video with them to help anyone better plan ahead regarding job search strategies. Normally there are two main routes. You focus on potential positions and then see what companies are in need for those talents, or the other way around. You target at particular companies that sponsor H1B visas or for your area of interest, and then you further look into the job titles that you might fit into. So here's the raw data. After cleaning up some less helpful data in the raw data file, here is the final raw data I'm using for this demo. Please also note that I have filtered out the non-marketing related positions. So to keep us concentrated on the marketing jobs only. So job titles such as marketing managers, sales manager, market research analyst, survey researchers, and so on are used in this regard. Okay. In this Power View table, you can easily filter what you want to look for. For instance, you can filter it by survey researchers. Let's click on it. And you can see that Amazon and American Institutes of Research and also some schools like UT Austin and Yale filed petitions with this title last year. You could also do the similar for companies. Let's go to employer name, and if we pick Google. Okay, so you see Google filed one market research analyst and marketing specialist and one marketing managers last year, both with pretty decent salaries. If you are not sure which approach to take just yet, I would recommend filtering it by position titles as well as salary ranges. Of course, you need to be realistic about potential jobs you are applying for, as well as the salary ranges. Speaking of salary, let's move on to this Power View map feature, which shows 4 levels, as you can see here, with different colors. These show the 4 levels of the prevailing wage. And the circle, the different sizes of the circles show the actual prevailing wages. So the map tells us a couple things. First, there were more marketing-related petitions filed in the East Coast than in the West Coast last year. Second, although there were less cases filed in the West Coast, the prevailing wages of those filed cases were much higher than those of the East Coast. You should also think about in what salary level you are likely to be in. In general, a position with a salary within the second level or above is more likely to be approved by the government. It's usually unlikely that you can find a company offering you a level 3 or 4 salary when you are fresh out of college or grad school without much work experience. So if you just look at the red portions of these circles, you might want to spend some more time looking for jobs in California and in the northeast part of the US. Also here, I have a dashboard with charts and slicers whose data set is connected with each other, and so the bars and columns would alter along, given the filtering conditions I apply to the slicers. If you are more interested in knowing which companies could be a good start for applying to their marketing jobs, you can use this H1B case status by company, chart, and slicer to compare the amount of certified petitions versus those denied or certified but withdrawn across the companies. And of course, before you can do so, you need to format the data into pivot tables and pivot charts and add slicers there, as you can see in this sheet. Let's go back to the dashboard. If you are more interested in comparing the prevailing wages across your interested positions, you can look at this chart, job title and salary chart. Note that there are some zero values in this chart because it was 0 in the raw data file, so do not be alarmed by that. Some students are able to get a sponsored job, but then they get into trouble with the prevailing wage. For instance, in the New York area, the prevailing wage for a survey researcher is around $47,000 to $49,000 a year. If someone gets paid at $40,000 a year, this case would not be approved by the U.S. government. Therefore, some may come up with an idea of filing the petition pretending it was a part-time job to make the calculated salary, or say the hourly wage, fall above the prevailing wage requirement, while in fact that person is actually contributing 40 hours a week. Here we can see the amount of part-time petitions. Full-time equals N, that means part-time petitions. Those part-time petitions are actually far less than those of full-time, and the success rates seem lower too. So if possible, I personally suggest against this approach. Further into the wage discussion, let's look at the prevailing wage levels again. As discussed, there are 4 levels. The higher the wage level, the tougher or more that job requires or entails. And not surprisingly, it's harder a freshman can get. So by clicking through this slicer, we could tell the certified cases are indeed more likely to be in level 2 or above. We shouldn't draw a conclusion that jobs within level 1 wage are, as a result, less likely to get approval. But given those numbers, I would advise that if you can, do your research and negotiate with your employer on salary for visa purposes. And that comes to the end of my demo. If you have any question, feel free to reach out for this Excel file or like advice on job search strategies. Thank you.